All right, Radical Metal viewers. Can't go wrong with Perdomo. It's not my favorite Perdomo, but it is a Perdomo. Getting the foot all toasty for a nice even burn. Guess what? I think we're in business. Hey, so this is Radical Metal's recap of the 2024. I'm wearing my Raiders hat. I'm wearing my Mastodon sweatshirt. Octopus Has No Friends. And my vintage, I would say, Crack the Sky denim jacket, because you don't talk radical metal without the common thread of the mighty Mastodon, the genius music that brings us all together here. But I wanted to wear the Raiders hat too, because Raiders are playing the Falcons on Monday Night Football tomorrow night. So I'm sure folks can either make fun of me and the Raiders in the comments tomorrow, or maybe the Falcons. I don't know. I suspect the Falcons will win. Raiders are struggling, but I'm a loyal fan, and there's nothing more heavy metal. Come on, is there another sports team that's more heavy metal than the Raiders? But I digress. Okay, so recap. Hey, first I want to thank Simon. He is our, I call him the alchemist. He takes my ramblings and makes them interesting. With his graphics, with his cuts, with his edits, with his ideas. And so you really can't talk about radical metal without talking about Simon now. Simon, I wore this makeup for you. Hey, Raiders wear makeup when they play games, so, you know. So first want to thank Simon for all he does and his friendship. He's just been the heart and soul of this channel. So really glad we're a team. And then I just want to go over the videos we did this year. We did a lot of great stuff. I'm excited. And maybe I'll go into a little bit, some plans for next year. But first, let me just recap some of the videos. We got some great people. The very first one we got in 2024 was Mr. Warren Lee. Stage manager and crew for Slayer for, 16 years or something like that. Also worked with Mastodon. Friend of Darren Sanders, who we'll get to in a second. But me and Warren, we became Facebook friends because he's always posting stuff about pictures with Kerry King and Jeff Hanneman, and I love Slayer, so I befriended him just to see if I could get into his orbit and learn more about him, and asked him to come on the show. It took a minute, but yeah, we got him. So that was really fun and enlightening, and you should check it out. You should check out all these videos. Some are better than others. And maybe I'll talk about that too. Next we have Darren Sanders, another great guy, a great friend of Warren Lee. Darren and Warren, I would argue, came up together in the heavy metal business. Darren being Troy Sanders' brother from Mastodon, and Kyle Sanders' brother from Kerry King. We talked to him before Kerry King came out with his band, and I'm sure he knew that Kyle was in it at that point, so he alludes to a secret that he can't tell, but that they went on tour together, and my wife and I saw them. Was great. He was great, though. I mean, he's been with Mastodon since the beginning, and their stage manager, and does probably a million other things for them. And we talked through that. He was in Mexico drinking some homegrown tequila, and it was a hoot. So yeah, go back and check that one out. Bubbers it also goes by Bubbers. But what a great heart and a great soul. And we got him. Then we did a reaction video to Idle Hands, Kerry King. Didn't get a whole lot of views, but whatever. We do those every once in a while. We've only done a couple, but we may do more, we may not do more. I don't know. And I enjoy talking to Simon about music because he's very well versed and very articulate when it comes to metal. And the more we have him and his beautiful face and beautiful beard on the show, I think the better. So I like that video because of that. Hey, then we move into my friend and filmmaker, David Fritzen, Son of a Fritz. I don't know if it's Son of a Fritz Studios, but check him out. He's made a lot of short films, produced a lot of short films, directed short films. Has gotten pretty big time with a number of them. One of them being, oh shoot, am I going to mess this up? Wireless, I think it's called. That was a big film. You should check him out. He's in Richmond. Always fun to talk to him. We met in a Mastodon VIP line back in the day, became friends ever since, and have gone to shows together and hung out together at shows. And it was a great time talking to him. Learn more about film. You know, what does it mean to direct anyway? What does it mean to produce? I didn't know what a producer really did. And so he breaks that down and, you know, talking about how that's the mom of the film. And just fascinating stuff. And if you're into filmmaking, it's a lot of good information, I think, especially if you're just getting started. Then we went into the 30-day cold plunge. 30 days turned into, I kept going with it. I'm taking a little break right now from it. But it may not do it so much in the winter. It's cold enough, right? But I'll tell you what, that cold plunge is pretty darn amazing. My whole family keeps ping-ponging my daughter and my wife getting sick, and I don't get sick. And I don't know if it's cold plunge, but it very well could be. I have not gotten sick, I don't think, since I started using it. Something to consider. We do heavy metal, we do politics, radical middle, and then we do health, radical metal, METTLE. Metal is one of my favorite words in the world. Metal meaning resilience. And I think that I apply that word to health, to how to make us more resilient. And so I think it's appropriate. Plus, I just love that word metal. Who doesn't want to be resilient? Who doesn't want to be anchored? We'll get more into that in a minute. Like I said, we talk about politics. I do not hold back on my politics. I want to share it. I want to take the fear out of sharing your politics. And I think the way that is done is by our 3 tenets: bring dignity to the discourse, bring your own testimony to the table, and through that engagement, you'll get clarity. That's what we believe in here. And I think that works if you follow it. And I mean, why should politics be a scary thing to talk about? It's only scary if you do it wrong. It's only scary if you have an agenda or you want to do a gotcha thing and trap someone else in your discourse and look like the man in a debate. That's not how you go about it, in my opinion. So that's how you take the scariness out of it. So that was my political testimony. Now, the other thing too, a new tenet I think we're going to incorporate is, hey, be invigorated when you're wrong. That's how I feel when I'm wrong. The things I said in that political testimony, I don't know if I agree with everything I said back then. I've changed some of my viewpoints on some things. And that invigorates me. It invigorates me because I love to learn. And shouldn't we all be like that, just wanting to learn? And that's what I mean by be invigorated by being wrong. Don't seek out to be wrong. Just share your points. But if you get swayed in another direction, shouldn't that be exciting? Because you're learning something. Why stick to old news if someone proves it unsound? Oh my gosh, this one's a big one. Yosemite in Black. We had them on the show, Luke and Mike. That was their first interview ever. So we feel very honored to be the show that they came on. Now that their cold shoulder video has gotten 1.2 million views. How amazing is that? They're getting all kinds of offers and opportunities, let's say, to go to different tours. I know they're touring in Europe soon, starting in Denmark. We wish them all the best. We couldn't be more proud, even though, we didn't do anything. But it's such good music. Gets you right in the... So if you haven't checked them out, you can check out the video, the interview we did with them. But you can also you should go check out their music. Super heavy, super crunchy, super pinche harmonics, which are delightful to hear. And hey, we're musicians too. Did you know that? Well, you would if you saw our radical riffs. We have done just 2 radical riffs. I do want to make it a thing. Sometimes I'm very slow to get the next one out, or we have things that are scheduled already. But our radical riff number 1 was Ghosts of Perdition by Opeth. One of the sickest riffs I think I've ever heard, and probably why I chose it. It's complicated stuff. That wasn't easy to learn. It took me a while. But I want to share the riffs that are near and dear to my heart and that have influenced the genre and that have really stuck out to me. And we may see Simon doing some of that too. Huh, Simon? Maybe? So I love what Simon has done, well, with all the videos, but with that as well. Making it kind of special and more entertaining to watch than just me playing guitar. Next, we have METTLE Radical Metal. I followed a guy, Gary Brecka, online. I am still sure if he's a snake oil salesman, like a lot of these health people tend to be online, selling you some kind of ashwagandha, mushroom, friggin' whipped cream from the Himalayas. I never know what to believe, but I seem to be a sucker for it and tend to buy a lot of that stuff just to see what happens. Clarity comes through engagement. So I got his DNA test and learned some stuff about my DNA where I was deficient, and now I take supplements that are supposed to mitigate those deficiencies. Could I tell you if I feel any different or it's changed anything? I have no idea. I don't even know how to. I really don't know. I want to say maybe a little bit, but who knows if that's in my head or not. So I'll leave it up to you. But if you watch that guy and you're curious about the DNA tests he's offering to provide, I go into that. I also go into his supplements. So I bought his supplements, and one of them gave me a headache, and it was just awful. I couldn't take it anymore. So I just ended up getting a comparable supplement off the shelf. This cigar is great, by the way. I love Perdomo. I think I love all Perdomos. Speaking of cigars, I did a cigar Foundation Cigars Charter Oaks. These get for us massive views. We're a small channel, but I'm always surprised that cigar reviews get so much attention. I guess there's a lot of cigar smokers out there. This was Charter Oaks, Foundation Cigars, Charter Oaks. Delightful cigar. I think I still have another one of those. I hope I do. I remember loving it. Even more than this one, I think. Anyway, so we do cigars, too. Obviously. All right, Radical Riff number 2, guys. It should have been number 1 because they're the best band of all time, and the best album of all time, and the best song of all time, and the best riff of all time. The Last Baron. You know what I'm talking about if you love Mastodon. We did The Last Baron, iconic riff. Probably poorly, but I think pretty good, at least. If you check it out, if you scroll back in my early days on this channel before we were Radical Metal, I do have a video of Billy Kay playing that. Went to one of his private lessons in Baltimore before the show. Private, there's a group of us, but he let me film him doing The Last Baron. I think it's got like 75,000 views. Pretty incredible. If you don't want to watch me playing it with my makeup on, then you go watch him play it. Let's keep going here, guys. Only a few left. Back to another cigar, Shade to Black. We did a review of Shade to Black. It's a Drew Estate cigar that James Hetfield has designed. He's got another cigar, or darker cigar called Blackened. If you know Metallica, and who doesn't? Those names should be familiar, or what they're a play off of, Metallica songs. Both delightful cigars, really good. Affordable. And I wouldn't say the top of the line, at least for me. I don't get that top of the line feel, and I feel like I'm understanding what that is for me. But still, solid cigar and affordable. And then, man, this was a big boost to the channel. We had our very first ever Mastodon Mayhem giveaway. We're closely tied to the Mastodon Mayhem group on Facebook, which was started by the legend Johnny Fishes, and that is now probably, I don't know, we're probably approaching 15,000 members. Amanda Blackman, shout out Amanda, is one of the main admins on there, and helped facilitate that. We got entries, they subscribed to the channel, submitted a comment, and we chose a name out of a hat, at least my daughter did, and it was Tony Englis, who I found out later was a Raiders fan. I was like, yes! So for me, sorry everybody else who didn't win, but for me that was pretty awesome that it was a Raiders fan. So we did the giveaway, and then Amanda and I sat down for a little bit to talk about it, which was really nice. So there's another video. I'm just going down the list. I talk about politics. Again, trying to just make the point I was making earlier. Hey, politics doesn't have to be scary. Just bring dignity to the discourse. Listen, talk. You share your perspective. That's what I mean by giving testimony. So I just gave a spiel about that. Since we're getting so many new members from that giveaway, I wanted to be clear on that. And then related to politics, I had Mark Satin on the show. Mark Satin literally wrote the book called Radical Middle. I didn't know that. Can't believe I never Googled Radical Middle before to find out if someone may have written a book on it. Sure enough, there he was, Mark Satin. I reached out to him. He had just finished another book, Up from Socialism, which I just finished, which is a really interesting book. Really gives you an intimate view of the 60s and 70s and politics and protest politics, and the ugliness of some of that stuff, and some of the cool stuff and the lessons learned along the way, which really brought him to some of these ideologies that we espouse here on the channel. Dignity in the discourse, building on systems that are already in place, not just trying to burn it down, working with people, sometimes compromising, even if it goes against some of your values, because we have to, because we're so diverse in this world that if we're going to make progress, we just need to be collaborative and not so selfish and not so dogmatic. Then we did Radical Riff number 3, The Ocean's Daughter, Junior Bruce, huge fan of theirs. They are just awesome. My buddy Wade Collins, you'll see him pop up a lot in these videos, introduced me to them, and I've been a fan ever since, and even been in contact a little bit with the drummer Jeff McAleer, awesome dude, the singer, sick, but I love this riff. Super simple riff, but I give a history of Junior Bruce based off the Death Race 2000 movie. If you're curious what I mean by that, watch the video. But that was really fun to do. And then threw a little solo in there too, because the spirit moved me. Anyway, then we have, a massive video for us. JB, John Balsamo, of the now growing in fame Palaces and Low Before the Breeze, and like a ton of other bands, I think, which I don't remember all of them, but JB was great to talk to. We met in person at the Big Hairy Elephant concert, the Mastodon Secret Show, which I'll get to in a minute. And he's just an awesome dude. He's like a legend. Everybody loves him. Everybody in Atlanta that I have met so far has been like extraordinary people. Everybody I've met has made me want to be a better person. And JB is one of the leaders of that pack. Just the concentration of talent, his drumming checks all the right boxes for me. All the emphasis on the right parts, and just awesome. But such a great guy. Man, I've just been questioning my life a little bit talking to these guys. I'm like, man, I don't know if I'm that good of a person compared to these guys, which is great. I'm learning. But JB's at the top of the pack, and he talks about opening for Mastodon that night, and what a joy that was. And then Bill Kelleher from Mastodon producing their next album, which they're in the studio, I think, finishing up. I think Bill's got to come back from tour in Australia, and I'm sure that will probably be done sometime after that. Can't wait for that. Anyway, but what a joy. I'm just so honored to be that guy's friend, and I'm sure we'll have him on the show again to talk more politics, because he's into that too. And I did an unboxing video of Yosemite and Black's In Pursuit Of, which was super sick. Record, CD, cassette. And Jay Crash, my brother, another guy leading the pack down in Atlanta, sent me some swag, which was really nice. He sent me a really nice note, which I think I'm going to cherish forever and maybe even frame it. I didn't realize we did so many videos. We're prolific here. We try to knock one out every 2 weeks. We're taking a break over the holidays, with the exception of this video. But man, we've really been busy. Oh, next we talked to Andrew Spann. Andrew Spann, Low Before the Breeze. Oh man, one of the most uniquely talented guy I think I've ever listened to. Low Before the Breeze is otherworldly, man. It's great. And then JB's drumming with them, as I mentioned earlier. So Andrew gave me a little bit of insight into his brain, which actually is not so insane as his music. Again, he's just a really sweet guy, talented as heck, and fitness guy. And so that was refreshing too to see. Actually, it's kind of a common theme. I take that back, because Atlanta has got a little bit of a reputation for being boozy and druggy, but a lot of these guys don't even drink. Andrew drinks very little. I know Tim Jones quit, Jay Crash quit. So a lot of encouraging stories of to sobriety in the metal scene, which is pretty cool. So anyway, it was fun to talk to him about that. And now we get to Where Strides the Behemoth, Part 1. This was a documentary, our first mini documentary, talking about Mastodon's secret show to kick off their 20th anniversary of Leviathan tour that they did with Lamb of God. Part 1 was my perspective. I talk about meeting JB and hanging out at palaces, and then seeing Mastodon up close and personal at a legendary Star Community Bar that has so much history in Atlanta, Little Five Ports. Hey, but then before Part 2, I got the privilege to hang out with Tom Cheshire in Puerto Rico. He's down there. I had to fly down there for work, luckily enough, and so he showed me a great time. Was a great host. I call him the Oracle. He introduced me to so many great folks like Jay Crash, and really got the kind of momentum going for this channel that I didn't foresee. This is why he's the Oracle of talking to the Atlanta scene, basically. I didn't put that in the cards at any point, and then it just started happening like that, and it's been very beneficial for this channel and quite lovely. And Tom, I credit him with starting that ball bouncing, and such a great guy. I have so much love for him. He's been such a great friend, support system, and connector. Sorry, I didn't want this to go out. Man, this is a good cigar. What a change from the last time I had one. So Tom, I can't say enough good things about him. We are in contact all the time. And I'm just so excited of what he's doing. He's got so many great, amazing irons in the fire. One I'm super psyched about, but I can't talk about it. He's coming back on the show with his brother and another guy. That's all I'm going to say about it, but it will be great. I'm really excited for this thing he's working on. Tim Jones, leaf blower. Gosh, I've been saying it with all these guests, how great they all are. I just mean it though. Tim is oh man, he's lead singer, leaf blower. I became such a fan of those guys, and then and I remember going down in Atlanta too, and everybody was talking about leaf blower, and I'm like, oh cool, maybe I'll see him one day. And then sure enough, Tim reached out because they had a album coming out and wanted to talk, and I was like, yeah, He said, I talked to Tom about him, and he's like, dude, Tim's the best. And so I'm like, well, you're the Oracle, Tom, so let's have Tim on. And sure enough, came on, blew my mind. Such a great guy. Can't say enough good things about him. And again, such a concentration of talent and heart. He puts on mosh for tots, like the Marine Corps. Collecting toys for tots, mosh for tots. I think that happened just the other night. He puts on mosh for moms. He's such a great guy. He's so involved in the community and loves his community and brings the love locally. Like I think we all should. Some of us have all these grandiose ideas of how to change the world. How about change your town? You know, that's Tim. And so he's been a big inspiration too, and I just love him, and I love texting him every once in a while, just to check in. And like recently, because the Falcons are playing the Raiders tomorrow night, that'll be interesting. But it'll be fun talking to him about it. It's funny because like normally with friends, if my team's playing their team, I'll talk smack. I don't want to do that with Tim because he's so sweet. He's such a nice guy that I'm probably not going to talk smack. I probably won't have any smack to talk because Raiders will probably get destroyed anyway. So hey, part 2, Where Strides the Behemoth, biggest video of the year for us. This is, and the reason why I think is because not only did we interviewed other fans, and then we also interviewed Steve McLaughlin from Palaces, the guitarist who plays with JB, and Eric and Jeremy of Palaces, and again, what it was like opening for them. What about the new album that Bill is producing from Mastodon? But just about that night and how fun it was, and just what does that feel like? What does that feel like to be asked by Mastodon, whom we all adore and should adore if you don't already, to open for you and then to produce your album? I mean, what does that feel like? I don't know what that feels like. So Steve broke it down. I think it was pretty surreal for him too, and hasn't even hit home yet. But he was a joy to talk to and a great guy, talented guy. I know, talented, great heart. Just like everybody else from there, because there's something in the pickle juice. Everybody's eating Kelly's death pickles down there. That's why. That's what it is. And Kelly put something in there and makes everybody a sweetheart. So, good job, Kelly. Good job, Michelle. Shout out. Kelly's death pickles. All right, well, let's keep moving on. Only 3 left. I'm sure Simon's going to make this interesting because I'm talking too much. Oh, back to radical METTLE. Transcendental meditation. Something I do. I've been doing for, I think I'm going on 5 years now. And I wanted to share it with the world, and I brought my teacher on. I thought it was especially pertinent this day and age because I think a lot of people are getting rattled by things going on politically, and life is hard anyway. It doesn't matter what age you're living in. Life is hard, tricky, complicated, painful, joyful. There's dread sometimes. There's optimism. It's just such a big swirl of what the heck, man. And so transcendental meditation, I think if I could just say one thing about it, is just something that helps keep me anchored in all that. Good metaphor that we talk about in there, Jamie brings up, is when you meditate and you do it for a while, you learn how to be below the surface, where all the waves are crashing at you on the surface. It makes you more resilient. Back to resilience in metal. METTLE, and anchored, and not so movable. Yeah, sometimes things are still hard, painful, complicated, weird, but it helps navigate those things much more easily when I'm doing that as a practice twice a day. And if you're interested in hearing more about it, go check out the video. All right, so then we did a post-election debrief. Remember, we talk about politics here. I'm not sure I remember what I was talking about. Just how I think the Democrats blew it, I think, was part of it. And just thoughts about, I don't know, maybe things will be different this time around. We really don't know. I'm trying to keep an open mind. There were so many deal breakers for me with certain parties, certain political figures, but I'm not going to just dig myself into a hole and escape or move to friggin' Greenland or something. Hey, finally, we wrap up the year. I don't think we could have wrapped up the year any better than Jim Bob Cooter Jr. Jim Bob Cooter Jr. Oh my gosh, am I going to say it again? A concentrated entity of talent and heart and love and light and humanity and charity and camaraderie and respect. I love his art. I'm still need to figure out how to get little 5 points that he did, because he keeps working on it and added more people, but I really want that bad on my wall. He's touched every artist, I think, in Atlanta, if not from other places. He just did Celestial Death. Jay Crash's band is a new band. I guess I can say it's a new band. His album cover, just killer. Killer video too. There's not a musician in Atlanta, that at least that I know, that hasn't had something done for them by Jim Bob Cooter. He's amazing. He's so fun to talk to. He's very articulate and breaks down kind of his art and how he's inspired. Talks about, he's a listener, you know, he likes to listen. He wants, if I hired him to do something, he wants me to talk, so he can take notes, so he can get it right. So he's a service provider as well, in a way. But just I don't know, like a gentle, talented giant, and pillar of the community. And we were so grateful to have him on. Finally, I'm surprised we didn't have him on sooner. He's done art for Palaces, Celestial Death, Low Before the Breeze, I think. I mean, really everybody I've talked to, I think he's done art for. And then he's also a musician, and he plays the much coveted by me. This is kind of fun. I didn't realize it till later, when researching him before we talked, that he bought Billy Kay's much coveted golden axe. It's a Gibson Explorer that I just wanted my whole life. And he didn't even know it was Bill Kelleher's signature guitar from Gibson back in the day. He just bought it because it hit all the wickets that he was looking for, and then later realized it was Billy Kay's guitar. And it's funny because he knows, I mean, they all know Mastodon, and I think Billy Kay was ribbing him a little bit. Hey, nice guitar. He just changed the pickguard to black, I believe, and it sounds great. And he plays a Nominaut, which is it's such a funny, great concept of band, instrumental band, progressive, that's gotten heavier over time. But I love his philosophy towards music too. He's like, hey, we just come set up and play. We don't like talking. We don't like talking to the crowd. Like, what are we gonna say? Tip your bartenders? They know to tip. And I love that. So a huge fan of Nominaut now too. If I were to start a band this late in life again, I would follow his template. Maybe I'd have singing because I like to sing, but just like a cool, silly ideas for entertainment, just to entertain. That way, if you hate the music, you're still entertained. I love that. So anyway, that wraps up 2024. Shout out to all our guests. You mean so much to me. I really think you're all going to be friends for life. At least I hope so. And then final shout out to Simon Hope, the alchemist, who makes all these videos more interesting than maybe they start out as. And for your friendship and talent. And with that, I bid you all adieu. I bid you a great 2025. For our 2025, I want to get a neon sign for Radical Metal. How about that for ambition? We're thinking about merch, but we got to grow the channel. So help us grow the channel if you would. I would love for this channel to pay for itself. It doesn't. It is a money suck. It's a negative money suck. I want it to pay for itself, but we can't even monetize it till we have 1,000 subs. So if you're listening and you like what you see and you want to support us, share us around. I hate to be the guy saying like and subscribe. I'd rather not be cliche and say that, but I can't tell that I'm winking. But and share with your fellow man, Atlanta. Maybe share with all your peeps down there, so we can grow the channel. It's kind of your channel. At least it is right now. It's your channel, guys. We love you, and we look forward to the new year, and hopefully we'll have some exciting stuff done. And until then, I'll talk to you soon. Take care.